Hi, everyone, and thanks again for joining us today for our webinar, The Future of Advertising in Asia Pacific, 2024 Trends Reviewed. My name is Lara Lima, and I'm part of the digital marketing team here at StackAdapt. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to the presenters to get us started.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are dialing in from, and welcome to today's webinar on the future of advertising in Asia Pacific for 2024. We have an exciting agenda lined up, packed with insights into the latest trends shaping the programmatic advertising landscape in this dynamic region. But first, for those of you tuning in and haven't heard of StackAdapt before or are unsure what we do, StackAdapt is a multi-channel programmatic advertising platform used by the most exceptional digital marketers. The state-of-the-art platform is where some of the most progressive work in machine learning meets cutting-edge user experience. Ad buyers plan, execute, and manage data-driven digital advertising campaigns across all devices, inventory, publisher partners, and the most exciting part is that StackAdapt is global. We have partners and agencies worldwide, including North America, EMEA, LATAM, and our favorite, which we'll be diving in deeper today, APAC. I'm Verena, and alongside myself, we have Louise, and we will be walking you through a jam-packed yet exciting agenda to cover new and emerging trends for this year. But a little bit about us. So I've been with StackAdapt for over 5 years now, first joining when we were at about 100 employees. And now we are over 1,000 employees worldwide. I'm the director of sales for APAC, and I was the first to expand our brand here in Asia Pacific. I'll hand it to Lou to introduce herself.
Great, thank you, Verena. My name is Lou. I'm the Senior Manager of Client Services in APAC at StackAdapt. I've been in media over 12 years, working across London and Sydney in the digital advertising space, the first 10 of which were spent in agency holding groups before moving tech side to lead the client services team here in APAC. I'm personally really excited to be with you today to uncover some key topics that have momentum within the space this year.
Buckle in your seatbelts because we will be taking you on a journey today and covering advertising trends for this year, highlighting some channels to watch out for. Then we'll be focusing on what's trending specifically within audience targeting, followed by some top programmatic measurement solutions. At the end, we'll be wrapping it up with some Q&A and key takeaways for everyone to walk away with today. But before we dive into the specifics, let's take a moment to understand the significance of programmatic advertising within Asia Pacific and what actually lies ahead for the industry. So let's look at specifically 2024 ad spend. Programmatic advertising has revolutionized the way brands reach their target audiences, allowing for more precise targeting, real-time optimization, and increased efficiency. And as we look to the future, the landscape continues to evolve, driven by technological advancements, which we'll cover today, keyword AI, shifting consumer behaviors, and regulatory changes. So much so that in 2024, global ad spend is actually forecast to rise 8.2% to reach 1.5 trillion AUD. Asia Pacific is predicted to grow 4% in 2024 to 240.9 billion, with 64.4 accounted for by digital. Here's some more interesting stats. On average around the world, advertisers will spend $139 per capita on advertising. This is approximately 75% more than what they spent 20 years ago, which if we look back was around $80. And for this year, Japan's ad spend is forecast to represent 1.26% of GDP, followed by the UK at 1.23% and the US at 1.13%. Not only that, but digital ad spend in Australia will reach around 15.7 billion AUD. And this just goes to show continued evolution and growth year over year and why it's important to get ahead of some of these trends and topics in today's environment. But now let's take a closer look at this growth and spend per industry in this market. And it's worth mentioning and calling out when we look at APAC specifically, Australia and New Zealand have a strong focus in retail. And we've actually seen this year with various tech vendors focusing on this space recently within these two markets. But if we take a look at a market such as Japan, fast-moving consumer goods are becoming a major focus. Now, what about ad spend by channel? So if we dial in on ad spend by channel in each market, we can see a list here of some of the examples across markets. Let's use Australia and New Zealand in this case, some patterns of growth and consistency. So as you can see at the bottom, search, TV, and video are sort of head to head in Australia with growth of TV and video this year. And we can see some growth starting to trickle up between audio and out of home. But in New Zealand, however, out of home is actually becoming slowly on the rise. Now, what about other markets? So moving on to Singapore and Japan. Print still remains a major focus in Singapore. Out of home is gaining momentum in Japan, while TV and video are considerably surpassing search on ad spend. Why is this important? So it's important we understand how the consumers in each market within APAC actually drive the adoption of digital channels based on preferences and behaviors. Now, I know the burning question from everyone here is, despite all of these trends, what will marketers be focusing on within this region this year? So I'd like to kind of break it out into three core pillars. First, we have retention and reactivation. Second, we've got first-party data activation, especially when it comes to changes to data privacy this year. And third, we've got AI-powered marketing. When we look at retention and reactivation specifically, it's the importance of maintaining existing relationships and re-engaging customers. In an uncertain economy, brands will focus on maintaining existing relationships and re-engaging those customers who may have drifted away. But how will marketers achieve this? So marketers will be looking to do this through first-party data activation, our second core pillar. Marketers are prioritizing first-party data in their strategies, not only to retain and reactivate, but also due to stricter privacy regulations, such as the decline of third-party cookies and increased customer trust and privacy concerns. And how will marketers manage this? So that's our third core pillar, and that's through AI-powered marketing. Marketers will increasingly rely on AI-powered technologies to analyze vast amounts of data, uncover actionable insights, and automate repetitive tasks. And this will enable more efficient and effective campaign management. Now, with some of these changes in data privacy and trends in focus, we'll also see change in investment for digital channels. Paid media leads in budget allocations across major marketing resources, followed by marketing technology, labor, and agencies. Search advertising will be hit the hardest, and social/digital video advertising will see the highest increase. You will also see how budgets may be balanced across the consumer purchase consideration journey here at the bottom, with awareness being a high focus for brands. Now, I know I mentioned earlier a keyword here being AI. We just talked about it a little bit, but diving deeper into the importance of it and the effect on the marketing industry, it will be massive. 73% of marketing executives said their companies already use generative AI. In marketing and customer relations alone, it should boost annual global output by at least 600 billion, and that's in AUD. Big techs are establishing AI ecosystems, so looking at the likes of Microsoft, Amazon, Oracle, Google, HP, just to name a few. They've all built platforms for hosting AI companies. We'll see AI dominating the work environment, so that's that 45.1 million work users in 2023 actually represented 58% of Gen AI users. This will actually climb to 70.6% around in 2025. And when we look at generative AI in search, Google and Microsoft are racing to transform the search experience by introducing Gen AI search engines. Now, I know I said a lot of keywords with AI and generative and Gen AI, but let's take a step back for those that aren't too familiar with what generative AI or Gen AI actually are. Generative artificial intelligence, also known as Gen AI, is artificial intelligence capable of generating text, images, or other media using generative models. Both generative AI and artificial intelligence use machine learning algorithms to obtain their results. However, they have different goals and purposes. Generative AI is intended to create new content, while AI goes much broader and deeper. And just to put the importance of this into perspective, Google is investing up to $2 billion in Anthropic, an open AI competitor. With all this being said, how will social media be impacted if it is on the rise? So taking a look into social media and how this actually is impacted, it is actually important to note that within Asia Pacific market, this actually accounts for 52.2% of global social media users. China leading the users within the social media space, but APAC will be offering the metaverse a second chance here, or a second life. Though in the West, the enthusiasm for the metaverse has fizzled out, the concept here in this region is slowly germinating, and that is thanks in part to government-led initiatives. The metaverse market in Japan alone will expand sevenfold between 2022 and 2027, going from 285.1 billion to 2 trillion Japanese yen. How does AI actually affect this? So the emergence of AI will usher a boom in content catering to virtual experiences. Gen AI has actually lowered the barrier to entry for content creation, enabling many people to become metaverse builders with absolutely no coding skills needed. To capitalize on this category of emerging digital experience, more brands will devise a metaverse strategy. Australians, however, are slowly turning away from social media. In October of 2023, 78.5% of the Australian population had active social media accounts. This is down 80.4% in February 2023 and 82.7% in February 2021. Now, just to put it into perspective of this trend here in Australia, the average social media usage per day is actually 2 hours and 6 minutes. But with all this being said, streaming is going to become the new norm. And we can see how CPMs are reducing cost because Netflix and Disney Plus aren't getting the rates they sought when they rolled out ad-supported tiers in late 2022. And we said earlier that video and social will be on the rise. Well, video viewer growth in Asia Pacific is broken out by country here, with Indonesia actually taking the lead. Now, when we look at a vertical specific approach, retail will be taking the center stage. And we saw this earlier with the trends within Australia and New Zealand specifically, but the spotlight will be there. 99% of Asia Pacific retail marketers said they plan to increase their retail media spend over the next 12 months, and that's pretty much a guarantee. Now, what about data privacy, data regulations, the deprecation of third-party cookies being pushed to this year? Contextual targeting will be the most popular or a popular alternative to tracking and targeting consumers within a post-cookie world for programmatic ad buys. Advertisers should be combining first-party data with probabilistic data graphs, inclusive of contextual, enabling brands to track consumer behavior across various channels here. and make predictive assessments while also looking to incorporate consented third-party data. Now, as marketers, how are we going to respond to all of this information and all of these trends in 2024? So we can look to reevaluate pricing. That is explore alternative pricing models that offer value to our customers. We want to gain a competitive edge through audience insights, and we want to redefine the concept of treats, which we'll dive into a little bit further. Consumers have actually changed their perception of what constitutes a treat. To make your products and services more appealing for those seeking indulgence, consider actually presenting them in a way that aligns with this updated definition. And this leads to more interesting facts where 49% of consumers actually felt frustration when they received irrelevant content or offers. 75% of customers expect companies to understand their unique needs and their expectations. So truly personalized messaging is the core of relationship marketing, and not about short-term wins or sales, but focused on delighting customers for the long haul. In order to reduce attrition and continue to grow, brands need to deliver personalized messaging that shows empathy and understanding of an individual's likes, interests, history, and preferences, while delivering in the moments that actually do matter, hence treats. This means collecting, understanding, and activating party data throughout their entire messaging strategy. And we have seen this within our existing clients as well, really increasing the use of their first-party data to try to cater to personal messaging, very specific targeted approach across their brand campaigns. Marketers need to consider streamlining ad buying processes though. So that's multi-channel reach, implementing scalable and fixable spend needs to be a priority. And we've helped agencies do this quite a bit here in APAC and globally by consolidating their direct out-of-home, video, display buys under one roof and being able to provide cutting-edge proprietary solutions and targeting on top of this to not only help brands generate a cohesive story, but actually be able to have a cohesive story across the entire consideration funnel. Hence, making sure that your treats are aligned. So key takeaways here, we'll narrow it down to 4. So AI and personalization will definitely be revolutionizing the marketing space. So AI-powered technologies and real-time personalization are actually becoming critical for marketing success, helping companies grow market share and build stronger customer relationships. Second is retail. Retail media is taking center stage. As we have seen, it is on the rise, and businesses need to consider retail media as a vital advertising channel. Third here is privacy-driven advertising strategies. So advertisers are combining their first-party and probabilistic data to navigate the post-cookie environment and maintain effective targeting strategies, which we'll go into a little bit later. And 4 is Asia Pacific will see a significant programmatic growth. So programmatic advertising in APAC is gaining strength. Now, what are some channels to watch out for in APAC? CTV. So CTV is on the rise here. Actually, 60% of brands in Asia Pacific are already running CTV ads, leading the pack with higher engagements. And we have seen this. We've seen the influx of CTV buys ourselves across our clients. 90% of programmatic buying and serving accounts for almost 9 in 10 CTV ad dollars. Over half of digital video viewers worldwide are actually based in APAC. The region is home to nearly 3 in 5 digital video viewers worldwide, totaling around 2.15 billion users. That is a lot of users. And APAC will be the 3rd fastest growing region for digital video. This is up by actually 3.6%. Now, another important thing to note is APAC is a mobile first market. Therefore, smartphones continue to be a driving force behind the growth of OTT streaming as well. Singapore, Australia, and Indonesia are actually topping the list of nations with the best CTV infrastructure. And nearly 50% of brands believe CTV will be bigger than mobile advertising within the next 5 years. Now, we saw those charts earlier where we compared search and video and social and print. Digital out of home was actually slowly growing across all 4 markets, and it is also on the rise. And we've seen this with our clients actually trying to paint compelling stories with their brands by using digital out of home as a component of a multi-channel approach. The APAC digital out of home market is actually estimated at 29.15 billion AUD this year, and it is actually expected to reach 52.14 billion by 2029. And lastly, in-game. The in-game advertising market in Asia is projected to reach a revenue of 80.5 billion AUD this year, and is actually expected to demonstrate an annual growth rate of 8.74%. Gamers in APAC, fun fact, spend 8 hours and 27 minutes each week playing games. I'm definitely not one of those users. However, on average, in-game ads drive 49% prompted recall with a high of 97%. That is very strong engagement. And after seeing an in-game ad, 6 in 10 players are likely to actually complete a purchase. Now, a last and final fact about in-game is actually women in Japan account for 55% of the mobile-first gaming community. So these are just some channels to watch out for this year that are definitely on the rise, that are gaining popularity, that we've seen actually work within the digital marketing campaign strategies for our clients. But what's trending in audience targeting? And I will hand this off to Lou to cover that.
Awesome, thank you, Berry. So it would be amiss for us to start a section on audience targeting without referring back to the continuous advancements in AI. AI and machine learning is used at StackAdapt and other tech platforms to put new technologies into the hand of users. Audience examples include lookalike modeling, browsing audiences, and contextual placement. And here at StackAdapt, behind the scenes, our algorithms are making 143 billion decisions per second across parameters like best performing creatives, most interested users, lookalike targeting, and contextual. Developing strategies to customize targeting and messaging through aspects such as time of day, weather, and context, as shown on this slide, help make the experience more significant to the end user. And furthermore, AI can help us gain meaningful insights from the data to further improve our targeting and delivery efforts and drive results for our clients and our brands. The second trend that we're all talking about as we finally start to see the cookie crumble is first-party data. The evolving privacy landscape and regulations that Berry spoke to earlier are causing businesses to rethink their data collection strategies. With growing restrictions on data collection and the phasing out of third-party cookies, marketers are turning to first-party data as a reliable and compliant alternative. The use of first-party data allows for more personalized and engaging customer experiences with consent obtained directly from the customer. It also helps in setting campaigns apart and maximizing return on investment or helping to minimize wastage. Furthermore, it's a way to future-proof data strategies in an era of hyper-personalization, where customers expect companies to deliver personalized interactions whilst they ask for us to be respectful of their privacy. When we look at retention and reactivation specifically, it can be a powerful way to maintain existing relationships and re-engage lapsed or dormant customers. A good use case example could be a ticketing vendor who might choose to use previous ticket purchase information to get you to consider a new band touring in your area that's similar to your favorite artist, or a zoo looking to upsell an annual pass to you as a semi-regular visitor. And finally, we're excited by the increase in adoption of digital out of home and how retargeting strategies enable us to execute cohesive multi-channel campaigns. Digital out-of-home retargeting is a strategy that allows you to reach consumers who have been exposed to your ads across all channels. This reinforces your message and increases the likelihood of conversion. It's a seamless way to connect with your audience, especially when running a multi-channel campaign. This strategy is particularly effective for retail clients, pushing users through the funnel from awareness to perhaps an online conversion or an online action. So lastly, how do we answer the age-old question your clients or your CFO is asking? Did it work? In this section, we'll walk you through 3 measurement solutions that are top of mind as we, as advertisers and marketers, work to prove the effectiveness of our efforts in driving real business results and ROAS. The first that we will mention here is foot traffic attribution. This measurement capability remains a leading way to connect the dots between campaign impressions or conversions to actual store visits. In APAC, we work with AdSquare and LifeSite to deliver this solution to our clients. Without going into too much detail, this works by tying impression level data to device level visitation, either through pixel implementation when we're working with LifeSite or in-house measurement when we're working with AdSquare to assess if the visits were attributed to StackAdapt campaigns. To understand visitation lift, the exposed group is compared to a control group of the general population that was not exposed to your ads. If there's a lift between the exposed and the control group, it means targeted individuals are more likely to go to your location than the general population, indicating that your campaigns are succeeding in driving those real-world results. The second to mention here is brand lift study. This is a method used to measure the percentage increase in the primary objective of a brand advertising campaign where media metrics are unable to tell that whole story. It typically gauges the extent to which an advertising campaign has shifted consumer perception against key purchase funnel metrics such as awareness and intent. And to give a couple of practical use cases of this could include measuring awareness for a new product launch using questions such as, have you heard of this brand, or do you recall seeing this advertising from one of these brands? Measuring consideration for perhaps a travel destination by asking which of the following locations are you thinking about visiting for your next holiday? Or finally, measuring purchase intent, and you can do that as simply as asking, how likely are you to purchase this product? These are fully customizable to measure the metrics that are most important to your brand, and they help connect media metrics to brand health metrics. And finally, approximately 11 years after we first started talking about viewability, we've seen and continue to see the focus on viewability shift to attention. Attention has been a buzzword and a core metric over the last couple of years, and it's not going away. As detailed on this slide, 36% of buy-side ad decision makers plan to focus more in attention metrics. And 1/5 of the observed ad impressions are run on made-for-advertising websites. These tend to focus on viewability to gain more ad revenue, and incidentally, MFA was called out as the buzzword for 2024 at this year's Programmatic Summit. As an optimization lever and digital currency, viewability has incentivized a web full of intrusive ad clutter. More than 1/5, 21% of observed ad impressions run on MFA websites that gain viewability, according to a January 2023 study from the Association of National Advertisers. But these high viewability placements are training consumers to ignore the ads that they see. And as average global viewability trends upwards, consumers are actually spending less time viewing each ad. Advertisers don't just want to know that their ad is being placed in front of consumers anymore. They want to know if it's being noticed and if the message is getting through. With attention metrics, advertisers can measure how long a person views an ad, what actions they took during that period of time, and how they felt or thought about it whilst it was happening and after. This, combined with brand lift studies, helps us to truly understand the impact of our ad dollars. So to quickly wrap up, you want to partner with a DSP that actively invests in AI, in machine learning, and in its people to deliver multi-channel campaigns that work to deliver against your and your clients' KPIs and ROI goals. On this slide, there are some examples of how we continue to do this with our clients, working hand in hand to develop the right solutions to meet your and their business goals. So to wrap up, if there are 3 things from your time with us today we'd like you to take away, it would be these. The first, use your data to understand your consumers. The more you know about your customer, the better you can tailor your targeting and your messaging to drive results. The second, leverage new tactics. Test and learn remains crucial effort for all of us. Just because something worked in the past doesn't mean it's going to work in the future, and that's also true in reverse. Just because something didn't work doesn't mean that it's not going to be successful for you in the future. So it's important to carve off a section of your overall budget to challenge the norm and find new and improved ways to achieve your results. And finally, diversify your marketing channels. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket. The benefits of a multi-channel strategy include increased brand visibility, enhanced consumer engagement, and the ability to reach consumers. And if there's anything that we know in this industry, change is constant. So having everything placed in that one basket can cause a huge amount of disruption long term. So thank you so much. We are going to pass over to Lara to host the Q&A.
Thank you so much, Verena and Louise. That was wonderful. I'd now like to jump into the Q&A portion of the webinar and open up the floor to any questions that you may have. So first question, what tools or strategies do you recommend for efficiently creating and scaling campaigns in multiple languages?
I can take that one. I think there's a couple of key recommendations that we would share. The first is to know who you are targeting, how you to talk to them, and where you can find them. Leverage any CRM data that you have consent for, and really understand the difference between the markets and how that might nuance your campaign approach. And the second would be test your creative in the market to ensure it's culturally sensitive and drives the results that you want. And I think this is super, super important because your brand reputation is at stake if you get that wrong. So again, test and learn and make sure that everything that you do is really tied back to that consumer.
Great answer. Next question. Given that APAC is a mobile first market, what are the key components of a successful mobile advertising campaign?
Yeah, I can take this one too. I think the first thing I'd recommend again is design for mobile first. If you're using small formats, recognize that it's a small format. There's a lot of scale in the small banners, but you need to make sure that your message is clear and legible and that the consumer knows exactly what it is that you want them to take out of that real estate. The second is understand your inventory supply and try to deliver across mobile app and in web to maximize scale. And the third is test your user journey. Make sure that once the user clicks on that ad or engages with it, they're taken through to a mobile optimized site. So if that landing page is too text heavy, you're going to get high bounce rates. So again, think holistically over that whole consumer journey.
Thanks, Louise. Third question. With the phase out of third-party cookies, what alternative strategies should marketers consider for targeting?
Should I take this one too? Yeah, awesome. So there's a couple of things, strategies that we would recommend. The first is first-party data. So collecting reliable and accurate data. You can trust that the data is up to date and reflective of the actual user behavior. This allows for more personalized and engaging customer experiences whilst maintaining compliance and preparing us for the cookieless future. The second is creative. I think, the power of creative is vast. Leverage partners with truly creative solutions. Make sure that you're building something that cuts through the clutter and is actively engaging your consumers and offering them something additional. The third that we would recommend is contextual targeting. There's a number of ways that you can actually place your ad in a contextually relevant environment. Now leveraging AI, which ensures that there's relevant placement and that you're capturing that user in a mindset where they're more likely to engage with that ad. And then finally, it's, again, adopt a multi-channel approach. Make sure that you are available to your consumer across multiple touch points and ensure that you can measure across the campaign journey.
Thank you. Great answer. I think we have time for one last question. How to retarget digital out of home?
Yeah, absolutely. I can take this one. So in terms of retargeting for digital out of home and how we've seen success doing it in the past with our clients or brands, so agencies and brands that we work with directly globally, is around specific digital out of home locations, we actually cross-match graph our data. So whether that is through cookies, device IDs, or IP addresses from a general holistic perspective, we can actually collect that data and cross-match graph that. So for example, with digital out of home, you're actually collecting users or targeting users based off of their device ID. So where they are within that proximity, and then you can actually cross-match graph that and retarget those users later down the funnel via display, native, through first-party targeting, through contextual, etc. But we do need to see volume, right? So we want to make sure that the digital out-of-home campaign is large enough. Otherwise, we won't really see success doing it across a couple of users. We want to make sure that we're targeting strategically locations outside out of home that are actually going to fit within the strategy, but also we're going to see a lot of eyeballs, right? And be able to collect more of those device IDs. So that's how we are able to do that within our ecosystem.
Perfect. Thank you so much once again, Verena and Louise. And that concludes today's webinar. Thanks again for joining us, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.